Bulk action buttons allow users to perform the same action on several rows of a given database. Bulk action buttons are actually enabled by default on every data grid, and we have one bulk action button called the bulk delete button, which lets user delete several elements in a row, and they can undo that, or if they don't, it actually performs the deletion. And you can customize this bulk action bar here to add or remove your own buttons. The first thing you may want to do is to remove it, and we're going to use the bulk action button props, and if I pass false here, well, the list becomes a read-only list. There is no longer any checkbox to select the row, and it's not possible to execute this bulk delete action. But you may want to customize the bulk delete action. So the equivalent of passing nothing is passing this bulk delete button here, but I can change the mutation option to the mutation mode, to pessimistic, and this will display a confirmation dialog before actually doing the deletion. So that's one thing you may want to customize, and you may want to add another button. For instance, you may want to add a button to update the stock here. This is something you can do with the bulk update button, and it will use a data prop, and I'm going to update the stock to 100, and bulk action button expects a single element, so I have to wrap that for it to work. And now when users select several rows, they have this update stock button that appears, and when I click on it, the stock here updates, and I can undo the mutation. And you may want to go one step further and to let the user choose the actual value of the update, and for that we have another component called bulk update form button, and this button behaves a bit differently. It takes a simple form, a form as a child. I'm going to use simple form, and this form, that's a regular form, will take for instance, a text input as a child, and I'll use the stock as child. And now what happens when I click here? I have this update button that appears, and now when I click on it, users can choose the actual value of the new stock, which updates the stock here. So that's the gist of the bulk actions button prop of the Datagrid component. And now you may want to wonder, what if I want to go further? What if I want to build my own bulk button, bulk action button? And well, let's see that in practice. So we'll remove these ones, and I'm going to use my own custom button. Let's do the same as we did with the stock. So I'm going to write a bulk reset stock button. I'm going to write that component, and so that's a React component, and it should obviously return a button. So I'm going to return a button that says reset stock, and so it should not be rests but reset. Okay, and now I have an error because I didn't use the right syntax. And now when I select an element, I have this button that appears. It doesn't do anything, so let's give it a function. First, I'll have to get the list of selected IDs, and I can get that from the list context. Selected IDs, and this comes from use list context. And then I will need to perform an update many on these ideas. So I will need the use update many hook. Use update many. And I will also use to notify the user of the actual change. So I'll use the use notify hook for that. Okay, so I think I'm ready to write my click handler. And the click handler will actually perform the bulk update on the selection. Ooh, so GitHub Copilot is almost right. I need to change this here. And on failure doesn't exist is on error. Okay, and let's see if it works. And now this handle click, I'll have to pass it as a click handler to the button. And now let's check that it works in practice. So first I'm unselecting everything. Let's reload to have fresh data. I'm going to reset these ones. Reset the store. Oh, stop 0 because, yeah, sorry, Copilot was wrong. I want to reset the stock to 100, but it works anyway. So if I reselect these ones, the stock will be set to 100. One thing I need to do is to unselect the rows that were selected. So for that, I use the on unselect items callback from the list context, and I will call them in the side effects. There, so next time I reset the stock, well, it also resets the selection. So that's it. The bulk action buttons prop, you will use it in many of your data grids and pass it any button you want.